This video is brought to you by Moft. I set out to find the best budget Apple ecosystem that you can buy today, from the iPhone to the Apple Watch, iPad, and of course the MacBook. Now, instead of simply buying the cheapest version of each product, I wanted to find products that are also still worth buying today and that you can still get good value from. So without further ado, let me show you the best budget Apple ecosystem in 2024. And as always, I will leave all the purchase links down in the description. Alright, so starting off with the iPhone. Now, first of all, the cheapest currently supported iPhone is actually going to be the iPhone SE second generation, but I don't believe this phone is worth buying, primarily because of its dated design, thick bezels, lacking camera, and also a small display. And then if we look at Apple's website, the current most affordable iPhone on sale is the iPhone SE third generation for $429. Now, don't worry, we've done much better, both in terms of price as well as in features. So here's what I chose. I chose to go with the iPhone 11 Pro. Now, I got this refurbished in excellent condition from Amazon for just £200 or around $240, and I've even seen it on used websites like eBay for as low as $180. And for that price, the iPhone 11 Pro is an absolute steal. Firstly, because you get that modern design aesthetic. This phone looks great, unlike say the iPhone SE, and since this is the Pro model, you also get that stainless steel frame and matte glass on the back, and this really results in a nice and premium feel in the hand. And then the moment you unlock the phone, you wake up this beautiful 5.8-inch OLED display. You're not going to find OLED on the regular iPhone 11. That is also super bright, going all the way up to 800 nits, making it visible even outdoors, say in the sun. And because it's an OLED display, colors look excellent and your content really comes to life. I would say this display is comparable even to the modern flagships of today. And then on the back, we get a triple lens camera system, which is still very capable and also versatile. I like having so many different lenses as it gives you different options when shooting. And in my book, more options is always better. Now, photos from the 11 Pro, I think look great. You get that classic neutral, true to life color profile that we've come to love from iPhones with good amount of depth as well as sharpness and detail. I would say this camera system is still perfect for casual social media use or capturing moments, say with family and friends. And of course, for making those video calls. And then in terms of performance, using the iPhone 11 Pro today feels, well, just fine. I mean, sure, it's not as fast as today's flagship iPhone 15s, but I wouldn't say it's slow either. There's no lag, things generally run very smoothly, albeit say taking a millisecond or two longer to launch an app. But overall, I would say the 11 Pro has been a joy to use. Additionally, you also get pretty good battery life. I would say it lasts all workday, not evening, with around 6 hours or so of screen on time. And of course, you do still have wireless charging as well. And then the A13 Bionic chip inside the iPhone 11 Pro is likely to get another around 2 years of software support, and this means that the 11 Pro is not just a great value today, but also for the next year or two. Again, with this Apple ecosystem, I'm looking not just for the cheapest product, but also the best value, and to me, the iPhone 11 Pro represents that perfectly. But let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do you agree with my choice of iPhone? I'd love to hear your thoughts, and if you are enjoying this video so far, a like on this video and a sub to the channel would be amazing. What better accessory to pair with your iPhone than an Apple Watch? So the cheapest currently supported Apple Watch is actually going to be the Apple Watch Series 4, but this is not the watch that I chose. Over on Apple's website, the cheapest Apple Watch that they sell is going to be the SE2 for $249, and this I actually think is a pretty good watch, even a good value that I don't think you're going to regret buying. But again, we've done better both on price as well as features. So the watch I chose is this. This is the Apple Watch Series 5. Now, I bought this refurbished from Amazon too for £117 or around $150. And I've also seen it on used sites like eBay for as low as $120. And for $150 or less, the Apple Watch Series 5 is a fantastic Apple Watch as it truly packs all those essential Apple Watch features. The biggest advantage of the Series 5 compared to the Series 4 as well as the SE2 is that the Series 5 has that beautiful always-on display, and for me this is truly a must-have feature. It means that I can check the time anytime. It will always show on the display. Even say I can check it subtly if I'm in a boring meeting or something without having to turn my wrist to wake the display. And secondly, I think it just looks better to have the time showing on the screen rather than just an off black screen, which is what you'd have on the Series 4 and the SE2. The Series 5 comes in two sizes. There's a 40mm version, which I have here, as well as a larger 44mm version. And yes, the bezels on the display aren't going to be as slim as on today's models, but the screen is still very legible, even in the sun, and I think overall still looks really good. It also uses the same watch band mechanism as well, all Apple Watches. This means you can easily mix and match bands and also find really affordable third-party bands on websites to really change up your look and have it match your style. And really, like I said at the start, this Apple Watch truly has all those core Apple Watch features. For example, continuous heart rate monitoring, activity and workout tracking. You can view notifications, one of my favorite features of the Apple Watch. You can also send messages from the watch, play your music, get routes on maps. You have emergency SOS as well, and really much more. I would say the only downside with this watch is going to be its performance. Now, I wouldn't describe it as bad by any means, but apps do take noticeably longer to load on the Series 5 as they would say on even the SE2 and of course the current Series 9. Still though, the performance is more than doable, and like on the iPhone 11 Pro, you don't run into situations where there's lagging or things are glitching out. Overall, the operating experience here on the Series 5 is still smooth. And then like all Apple Watches, with exception to the Apple Watch Ultra, the Series 5 still has all-day battery life, which is great, and I would also expect it to get another 2 to 3 years of software support and updates, meaning this watch will still last you for some time. So for around $150, the Apple Watch Series 5 perfectly complements the iPhone 11 Pro in our best value budget Apple ecosystem. Before we explore the iPad as well as the MacBook, let me show you this highly functional ecosystem of iPhone accessories from Moft. Starting with the Movaz Vegan leather case. Now, this is an excellent alternative to Apple's now discontinued leather case, or any leather case for that matter, since the Movaz case actually outperforms genuine leather both in stretch as well as abrasion resistance, meaning it will last longer and actually cost less too. The Movaz case has this satisfying grain texture on the back. It also has metal buttons for a nice and premium feel in the hand, and also comes in a range of colors, including my favorite, Misty Cove. And then to complement your iPhone setup, simply add the invisible tripod stand. Now, this is made of the same Movaz material and instantly attaches using MagSafe, and this is the smallest of its kind. Super slim, and it is a versatile tool that you can instantly add to your iPhone. Check this out. In one motion, it smoothly unfolds, allowing you to instantly prop up your phone. There's some really great design work going on here, and you can set up your phone in 3 modes. You have the floating mode, stand mode, as well as vlogging mode. Personally, I use the floating mode most, so say at my desk I have my phone propped up next to my computer. I can then also rotate my phone to watch videos, as well as for content creation, allowing me to film in angles otherwise not possible. And then for some extra power, simply magnetically attach the Snap battery pack. I love this because it creates a super thin profile, which means I can charge while I'm using my phone, or say while having it in my pocket, and of course without the need for any wires. Now, what is also neat is that this battery pack uses pass-through charging, which means that overnight I can plug in the battery pack using USB-C, simply place my phone on top of it, and then overnight both will charge. So to add functionality to your iPhone with Moft, be sure to head to the links in the description and use code Dion10 for 10% off your order. Let's talk about the iPad. So the cheapest currently still supported iPad is going to be the iPad 6th generation, but this is a product that I don't recommend today, primarily because it still uses that old iPad design with thick bezels and a home button, but mostly because of its dated A10 chip. And from having actually used it myself, I can tell you that it runs really slow today. Even with basic tasks, there's a lot of lag as well as stutters. I'd barely consider this usable today. Now, the most affordable iPad that Apple currently sell is actually this, the iPad 10. Now, this year Apple have lowered the price from $449 down to $349, and this makes this iPad a much better deal. In fact, this is the iPad that I chose for this best value Apple budget ecosystem. Now, I got mine on Amazon for £263 or around $330, and I've seen it on eBay used for around $280. Now, I've recently done a ultimate iPad buyer's guide, which compares the iPad 10 to the recent iPad Air, as well as the iPad Pros to sort of learn the key differences between the models and what you gain and lose with each. And I'll be sure to leave that video linked at the end of this video. But what is most important is that today, the iPad 10 truly offers the core iPad experience at a very attractive price. To start, you get that really nice modern iPad design. In fact, it fits right at home next to today's flagships with those symmetrical bezels and rounded corners and that squared off design. The display overall here is really solid. I like that you get those rounded corners on all corners, making the display feel more modern, just like on the flagship Pro and Air models. It is also reasonably bright at up to 500 nits and also quite color accurate, which is great for viewing content and even some light editing work. Now, the only downside with this display is the fact that it is not laminated. So as you can see, reflections do show quite easily on this display, more so than on the other iPad models. Now, in all honesty, I don't think this is going to be a major issue indoors, unless, say, you're in a studio like I am, but will be more noticeable if you want to use your iPad outdoors. But aside from that, overall, this is still a very solid display. I also like that the front-facing camera is in the horizontal position to allow for much more natural and better FaceTime calling. It just looks more natural when you're looking at the camera as opposed to off to the side. It also uses USB-C, of course, that universal connector, which is great. And it is actually Apple Pencil compatible, so I would recommend buying the USB-C Apple Pencil for $79. And then the A14 chip that is inside this iPad 10 still performs well. Now, it's not at the level of Apple's desktop class chips that you're going to find in their new Air and Pro models, but it still absolutely keeps up. I would say with normal day-to-day productivity tasks, things are very snappy, and even with light productivity apps as well as games, things generally run well. Plus, battery life is great too, just about as strong as on the Pro and Air, meaning it is all-day battery life with just about 9 hours of screen on time, and I would expect the iPad 10 to get another 3 years of software support and updates, so will definitely last. And this brings us to the core of the Apple ecosystem, the MacBook. Now, the cheapest supported MacBook is actually going to be the 2018 MacBook Air or 2018 MacBook Pro, but both of these models I don't recommend you buy, and I'll get onto why in a sec. Now, looking at Apple's website, the most affordable MacBook that they currently sell is going to be the 2022 M2 MacBook Air for $899, and this, I think, is a great laptop. In fact, I've been using this computer as my go-to travel computer for quite some time now, but we can still do better than that in terms of price. So I chose to go with the 2020 M1 MacBook Air. Now, I got this version here on Amazon for £459 or around $550 refurbished, and I've even seen it used for as low as $450 depending on the condition. And I've got to say, for that price, this computer is an absolute bargain. Now, yes, you can technically find older model MacBooks for less, but I strongly advise you avoid these because chances are they're going to have either both or one of the following. So first is going to be an Intel chip, and this means you're going to get way worse performance and also longevity compared to the M1 chip that is in this MacBook Air. And secondly is it will probably have a butterfly keyboard. Now, for several years, Apple shipped this keyboard with their MacBooks, and this keyboard turned out to be very unreliable and breaking easily with keys getting stuck, not registering, or repeating. I actually had this keyboard on my old 15-inch MacBook Pro and had to get the keyboard replaced twice, and this is really 2 times too many. Now, thankfully, they stopped shipping this keyboard in 2019, meaning that the M1 MacBook Air here does not have this keyboard. So for those 2 crucial reasons, if it is in your budget, I strongly advise spending that little bit more on the MacBook to get a more recent Apple Silicon Mac, and the best value of which is going to be the 2020 M1 MacBook Air. So the best feature of this computer is, well, in the name, and that's going to be that M1 silicon chip. Now, when Apple switched from Intel to using their own silicon, it really was a game changer. Instant performance increases of around 4 times in CPU performance and 6 times in GPU performance compared to the previous Intel-powered MacBook Air. To give an example, on this M1 Air, I can easily have 7 to 8 apps running at once, many tabs open in Safari while streaming 4K videos, and it still doesn't skip a beat. It is very fast, snappy, reliable, and really feels like any modern Mac. And it will do so for many years. I would expect another 3 to 4 years of software support and updates, and the battery life is also excellent on this MacBook Air, around twice as good as the most recent Intel MacBook Air. So really, the moral of the story is when you're looking for a Mac, make sure to find one that is powered by Apple Silicon. Again, the M1 Air here is my choice, and I think will be an excellent buy for most. It also has a really nice, sleek design that is made completely out of aluminum, so it is durable, feels very solid in the hand, there is no bending or anything like that, while still being nice and slim, so it will easily fit in your backpack. It's also relatively light. We get a decent port selection, your USB-C Thunderbolt port, as well as a headphone port. I would have loved to see an SD card slot, but they leave that for the pros. Now, the keyboard inside, thankfully, they've come a long way since those hideous butterfly keyboards, and this keyboard here is an absolute joy to type on. The trackpad especially is great because it's nice and big, which is perfect for scrolling as well as pinching to zoom. And then to top it all off, the icing on the cake here is that the speakers as well as the microphones are best in class. This really is an excellent laptop to have in the year 2024, and for around $500, this is the best Mac you can get. So there you have it, the best value budget Apple ecosystem for the year 2024. Now let's add up all the prices using the average refurbished prices to see the total. So the iPhone comes in at $240, the Apple Watch at $150, the iPad at $330, and then the MacBook at $550. And the total price here is $1,270 for an entire Apple ecosystem of 4 excellent products that will still last you for a solid 3 to 4 years. Just for fun, let's compare this total to the total cost of buying today's versions of all these products from Apple. So the iPhone 15 Pro will be $999, Apple Watch Series 9 $429, M4 iPad Pro at $999, and the M3 MacBook Air at $999, totaling $3,426, nearly 3 times more than the ecosystem that we put together today. Now, yes, you can find some of these products for a bit cheaper if you look elsewhere, but it does go to show the true value proposition of this budget ecosystem that we put together today. For me, this video has been a lot of fun. As a tech content creator, of course, I generally focus on the latest and greatest, and of course, it is the flagship models where you'll often find the most exciting and latest innovations. But sometimes if we go back a few years and when you know what you're looking for, this is really where you find the best value for money. And if good value is what you're after, you absolutely don't need to overspend on the latest and greatest always. What do you think of my ecosystem? Is there anything you would add, change, or remove? Let me know. I'd love to hear from you. If you have any questions at all, please leave them down below. And of course, I will leave all the purchase links down in the description. And if you haven't seen it yet, I highly recommend watching my Apple refurbished versus Amazon refurbished comparison video. That was a really fun one to make as well, seeing which refurbished is best in terms of quality as well as value. So I'll leave that on screen right now. Thank you so much for watching and take care.